Hey Jason, so I really enjoyed your presentation on Chapter 4. It was very enlightening and entertaining, and I stayed engaged the entire time. I love how you took the different portions of the chapter and broke them down, and how you talked about each of the different theories that were mentioned. At the end of your presentation, you asked us kind of where we saw our teaching and kind of what theories that we used in the classroom. I like to think that I use a little bit of every theory. With the constructivist theory, I definitely like using hands-on learning in my classroom, and I feel that the activities that I do with my students and how I teach them and what style that I use or what theory that I am kind of implementing is all based on the specific activity that we're doing. Sometimes in kindergarten, they need a little bit more structure during certain aspects, and during other topics, they need a little bit less structure and free range, because we're definitely trying to teach the content, but also trying to implement procedures and behavior and social skills all at the same time. So I feel like I use a lot of different ones. I definitely know that with the information processing theory, I love to provide feedback to my kids, whether it is whole group or small group. When we're doing our writings, every day we have a writer's workshop, and the kids write, and at the end, I'll pick 3 kids that I saw that I either worked with or my parapro worked with, or that I know is a good example, or I'll choose somebody who I know needs a little bit of lifting up in their spirits, and I'll get the ladybug, I'll put their writing on the ladybug, they'll get to share with a microphone. So I give them feedback on, oh, I love the colors that you used, or I love how you sounded out your words. Later on in the year, they then go into reflection, and while we're sharing, the students give feedback on the paper that's being shared in the author's chair, and then the student themselves will say, well, I sounded out my words, but instead next time I need to use the word wall because I know this is a sight word. They'll reflect on different things, what they did great or what they didn't in their writing. So that's one way that I'll implement the information processing theory with the feedback, and then with the reflection, more of the constructivist approach. I like to do hands-on during reading. The kids are all either reading independently, they're exploring word work on their own, or during math, they're in math tubs, they're exploring. They'll have a problem and they'll have to solve it on their own. So I find that I use a lot of different approaches, behavioral too. Like I said, it just depends on what I'm doing specifically in the classroom at the time, or depends on my group of students. I really enjoyed the presentation, and I love how you talked about what you do with your classroom with the constructivist approach. And when I saw this, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but when I saw this little clip, it kind of made me laugh and think of a little bit of what you were saying. As we start a new school year, Mr. Smith, I just want you to know that I'm an abstract, sequential learner, and trust that you'll conduct yourself accordingly. I feel like doing some of this research and readings, that sometimes kids are just kids. They all learn in their own way, but us as teachers naturally adapt ourselves to the students. And it's nice hearing these theories and reading about these theories and learning about them and reviewing them. But at the end of the day, we do a lot of this in our classroom naturally. We don't really need a bunch of textbooks specifying and telling us the specific theories and using it as a checklist. It's more of for our own knowledge, and because it all comes kind of naturally, it allows us to not have to kind of force it. And as teachers, we're able to focus on the students and what we're teaching the students and how to teach them. But at the same time, it is a very good reminder for us to kind of think back and reflect on our own teachings and what we're doing in the classroom to better help the students.